COP26 summit. What is the COP? Conference of Parties. Conference of Parties. To what? What is this conference? Okay, Conference of Parties. But what is that conference? UNF, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So when this UNFCCC was came into effect, this conference? 1990. And what is the basis to this conference? Rio Earth Summit, Rio de Janeiro, whatever the summit that was happened in the year 1992. The year 1992, Earth Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro, and under that we have brought some 5 different mechanisms. One among them is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. To combat the climate change, we have created this UNFCCC. Under this UNFCCC, we have created many protocols. See, the convention comes first. Under the convention, we are having some protocols. Under the convention, we are having some protocols. But anyhow, once we have created UNFCCC, our meeting started from 1995. This was the COP1. In Berlin, it was held. In Berlin, 1995 was the first meeting, and 2021 was the 26th meeting. And this Conference of Parties meeting is different to that of the Convention of Biological Diversity, CBD conferences. And there was a Conference of Parties on United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. That is a different. And there is a COP of Convention on Migratory Species. That is different. So don't confuse with every COP. This Conference of Parties of a particular convention are meeting. Parties of another convention will meet in another way. So don't confuse yourself with all the COPs. COP is different to that of different convention. Now, I'll give a brief history so that I can enter into this COP26. See, under UNFCCC, in the year 1997, in COP3, there was a protocol we have agreed to. What was that protocol? Kyoto Protocol. What is this Kyoto Protocol? I'm not getting into the full details of this Kyoto, but what is this Kyoto Protocol? Convention is something like an overall idea. We are agreed to reduce the climate change. But what we need to do? We need to have a certain rules and regulations. That is protocol. The clear-cut rules and regulations are called as protocol. We have signed a protocol in the year 1997 at COP3. What is that protocol? That protocol has decided they are dividing the countries into 2 groups, some A and B, developed countries and developing countries. Developed countries has to reduce the emissions. Developing countries don't have any role. Whatever we have agreed in the 1997 has came into effect in the year 2005. From 2005 to 2012, in 7 years. So this was the first phase. 2005 to 2012. In the year 2009, there was an important summit held. Where it held? Any idea? 2009 summit. 2000, because you no need to remember all 26, but at least you need to remember some of the important things. 2009 summit, where it was held? Any idea to anybody? 2009 COP summit. (2009). Copenhagen. Copenhagen. Because why I always insisting you to do this current affairs means, normally when you go through the economy environment textbook, you will read this, but you don't understand the importance of that. But whenever a context comes, then next time whenever you are reading, you will focus more on 1997, 2009. You will understand the importance of 2005, 2012. So that is why current affairs are important. Okay. So in the year 2009, when we were met in the Copenhagen, developed countries have brought a new thing called, it's not the role of developed countries alone, but developing countries should also contribute some amount in order to reduce the effect of climate change. Climate change. And especially they focused on the countries like China and India, Brazil. You people are saying developing countries, but on the name of developing countries, you are polluting a lot. Whatever we have done, but now onwards, you also must involve in this. Then at that point of time, the government has seriously thought on that, and they said, okay, actually the government idea is prior to that, why we should reduce our own emissions, because you yourself are the reason for this entire climate change. You polluted the entire planet for last 250 years. Why we should reduce our own emissions? We have to reduce because we are just now developing. We have to fulfill our aspirations. But in the year 2009, the idea was completely changed. They have introduced a new concept called common but differentiated responsibilities. Common but differentiated responsibilities, CBDR. So what is this common but differentiated responsibilities? Okay, we will also reduce the emissions, but our responsibilities are not same. Our responsibilities are different. Our responsibilities are different. You are the more polluter, you need to pay more. We are the less polluter, we will pay less. And at that point of time, the Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh, said, we are not part of problem, but we wanted to be part of solution. That's what the statement given by them. Some people criticized the government, why you are saying like that. But as the protector of the environment, somewhere we need to think seriously in order to protect the environment. If we say like, I don't reduce, you have to reduce, anyway they don't reduce, ultimately who are going to suffer? India is one among them, because we are having a huge coastline. They are getting a lot of effects. So, but we have agreed to common but differentiated responsibilities. Thereafter, Government of India started many programs like National Action Plan on Climate Change, and we have submitted our own emission targets. And the second phase started from 2012 to 2020. 2012 to 2020. First phase is from 2005 to 2012. Second phase is from 2012 to 2020. Now, what you need to do after 2020? For that, they have met again in the year 2015. 2015. So where we met in 2015? Paris. And what we said in this Paris, there is no concept called only developed countries should reduce the pollution. Again, there is no concept called common but differentiated responsibilities. They have brought a new concept called intended nationally determined contributions, INDC. INDC. You please come up with your targets. Intended nationally determined contributions. You might have read all these things in your environment and ecology. Okay. INDC. So what they are saying is, you please come up with your targets. How much amount you want to reduce? Tell me. First come initially. After 3 years, we will have a review and again we will fix the targets. But you please come up with your targets now. Okay. Everyone is coming with these targets. India has also went along with its target in this COP26. What were the targets of India? What India has mentioned? 5 important points, very, very important. I'll tell you. Earlier, we have given some targets between 2012 to 2020, but we have changed our targets. 50% of its energy, 50% of its energy will be sourced from renewable energy sources. Get the point? 50% of its energy will be sourced from renewable energy sources. That is what's first target. Reduce the carbon equivalent emission. Reduce carbon equivalent emission by 1 billion ton by 2030. And these are all targets for 2030. All targets are for 2030. Reduce the carbon equivalent emissions, not carbon emission, carbon equivalent emissions by 2030. Second target. Third target is, we will generate 500 gigawatt renewable energy by 2030. By 2030. Fourth one, we will be net zero by 2070. What is this net zero? Zero emissions. That means whatever we are emitting, we will be in a position to absorb it. That means we don't generate much, but whatever we generate, we will compensate. And the United States of America, European Union, they fixed their target as 2050. China has fixed their target as 2060 for net zero emissions. And initially, we are so reluctant to give this deadline, net zero. We need to develop much. Why you are asking me the target? Initially, you said like, okay, we only reduce our emission. Later, you said like, okay, we will have the responsibility, but I have the more responsibility, you have the less responsibility. But now you are saying you come up with your targets and you are asking me when I become net zero. Gradually, the onus is equally shifting from developed countries to developing countries. We need to understand that. Okay. Next. Fifth one, reduce carbon intensity of 45% of 2005 level by 2030. That means whatever we have emitted, our emissions in the year 2005, in that we will reduce it by 45% by 2030. That means in the 2030, our emissions will be 45% less of 2030. So these are the 5 targets what we have taken to the COP26 summit. These are the targets, INDCs we call it as. So these are our targets. Apart from these targets, what India has said, apart from these targets, what India has said. What India has said, because these points are important for us. Even today, we stick to common but differentiated responsibilities. When India said like we will compensate our, we will reduce our carbon emissions, or we will bring our renewable energy to 50% of the total energy, or we can reduce our emissions by 45%, or we will become net zero by 2070. That doesn't mean that you are having an equal responsibility with India. No, you are also having a responsibility, but you have a differentiated responsibility. You must do more than what India is doing. That is what you need to. Please don't forget these points, very, very important, because while you are writing the answer, you will understand the importance of all these points, because normally you read in the newspaper, but you don't understand in this deeper manner. Normally you read, but you don't understand. Okay, so India's even today still stick to this common but differentiated responsibilities. Second one, climate finance. Climate finance. Green Climate Fund, we call it as. Actually, it was proposed in the year 2009, but it was agreed in the year 2011 that developed countries must give some sort of financial assistance to the developing countries in order to cope up with their clean energy technologies. We call it as Green Climate Fund, $100 billion by 2020. That's what exactly the theme. Now, what we are saying is, whatever we have committed, that amount is not sufficient. It must be at least $1 trillion. $1 trillion. And this $1 trillion must be provided by the developed countries to the developing countries. To the developing countries. Financial assistance is necessary. Otherwise, it's not possible. We don't have such an amount of resources. And what was the progress that we have made on earlier commitment was not at all encouraging. You need to give more finance to the developing world. Who has to give? Developed countries should give. We are ready to participate with you. We are also trying to reduce. It is your historical blunder. You are the main polluter. But still we are with you because we want to save the planet, but please provide this. And this time, Prime Minister equally emphasized on adoption. 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 Generally, there are two terms called mitigation and adoption. Generally, often you use the term called mitigation and adoption. What is this mitigation? You need to reduce it. How will you reduce? If you have a thermal plant, you need to abandon and you need to start a solar park or something. That is how you need to mitigate. So everyone is focusing on mitigation, but now India has focused on adoption. Adoption. So adoption means you need to adapt to the changing circumstances. You need to adapt to this changing circumstances, because developing countries cannot mitigate in one day, cannot mitigate in a shorter period of time. On the one hand, you are mitigating, but on the other hand, you have to adapt. Adapt to the changing systems. You have to create a new infrastructure which can sustain the climate change effects. You have to create new processes which can sustain the changing climate. And for that, again, you need money. That money has to be provided by this. So common but differentiated responsibilities, financing of amount. Third one is mitigate adoption. And he has also mentioned, like, there are some communities in the world, especially in India, who are having their sustainable practices of livelihood which cannot harm the environment, that must be propagated around the world. around the world. So along with 5 commitments, these are the things announced by the Prime Minister of India. Have you watched that video? I think it's 2.5 minutes, not more than that. 2.5 minutes, the chance given to the Prime Minister in COP26 summit. Okay. Now, apart from this India, is there any other commitments that we have made at the COP26? Just I'll give some list of topics for reference. No, you can quote simply, no one will ask. Methane pledge. Methane pledge. First one is methane pledge. So you are all aware, methane is having a high potential than CO2, to be in for the causing of global warming effect. So you are aware, I think you see that table, you can understand. But the lifetime of methane is less compared to CO2. But on overall, it comes in the second place. First CO2, next methane. It's the second most polluter. And you know the sources and all. I'm not getting the details of that. But European Union and United States of America are committed to the reduction of methane levels of 2020 to 20% of 2022, 20% of 2020 level by 2030. 20% of 2020 level by 2030. So whatever was there in 2020, they need to reduce by 30% by the time of 2030. Okay. It is, suppose if it is 100 in 2020, it has to become 70 by 2030. Simple. Sorry, 20%, no? 80. This is one. And Russia, China, India are not signatory to this. You are asking me to reduce the carbon. You are asking me to reduce the ozone. You are asking me to reduce the methane. Then what should I do? You are not transferring the technology. You are not giving the finance. We need to develop. We need the gases, because in the developmental process, definitely, even our farm field will generate methane. And tomorrow, if you committed to that, from next time onwards, farmers should not grow paddy. Farmers should not go for animal husbandry. Industrial process should not release methane. So we haven't committed to that. But this was a global commitment some countries have made. Second one, deforestation pledge. Deforestation pledge. Deforestation. So all the countries are committed to reverse the deforestation and land degradation by the end of decade. By the end of decade. By the end of decade. And one more thing, the climate finance. Climate finance. India has proposed this. Climate finance must be enhanced and it must be given in an appropriate time. Next, infrastructure. Climate resilient infrastructure. They are focused on even climate resilient infrastructure. Climate resilient infrastructure. Climate resilient infrastructure. They are focused on. And they have also focused on one more important point. One more important point. One sun, one world, one grid. One sun, one world, one grid. One sun, one world, one grid. That means initially India will generate solar energy. It connects its solar energy grid with Southeast Asian countries, South Asian countries. Later it connects its grid with the Middle East countries. Later it connects with the African countries. That is how we wanted to, and from African countries to global grid. This is what exactly the plan, but we don't know whether they will implement it or not. It's just a plan. Just a plan. Global grid. Now, one more thing is development of clean technologies. Development of clean technologies. Clean technologies. Anyway, carbon market mechanism, you are all aware, like CDM, offset trading. These you will aware that continues, but development of clean technologies. The last point is phasing down coal consumption. Phasing down coal consumption. Phasing down coal consumption. Actually, the initial text was phase out coal consumption, but India has vehemently opposed. You cannot say phase out. No, we are here, we are building new thermal power stations now itself. How can you say phase down, phase out? So that is why you have changed it to phase down. Some of the other important issues: methane, deforestation, financing, clean technologies, one sun, one world, one grid, phasing down coal related technologies. These are the commitments you have made. But the point is, what was the target of this entire thing? I think you read something about 2 degrees centigrade, 1.5 degree. What does it mean? Reducing the global temperature by 1.5 degrees centigrade. Is it so? It's what? 2 and 1.5 what? We have maintained some global average temperature at the time of industrial revolution. From industrial revolution, now the temperature started rising. Now we need to confine this rise to 2 degrees centigrade, if possible 1.5 degrees centigrade. Be clear about this, because lot of people, I know that if I ask 2 degree and one, they say 2 degrees 1.5, but if I specifically ask, they don't know whether it is reduction of 2 degrees or whether it is on the above of industrial level or present level. Pre-industrial level to maximum 2 degrees we need to, if possible we have to confine it to 1.5. But the point is, with these pledges or with these commitments, can we achieve this target? Many experts saying no. Many experts are saying no, it's not possible. It's not possible. Even IPCC report came with this current going temperatures. I think some of the cities, both India and the world, they are going to submerge. Then what you need to do? Then what you need to do? The developed countries, on the other hand, they are also equally started blaming the developing countries. Developing countries are saying like, I need to develop myself, I can contribute to some extent, but you cannot insist on me. And even if you are insisting on me, you are not providing the technology and finance. See, today we are come up with the targets, no doubt about it, but these are not going to stay like this. There is a review after every 3 years or 5 years. Definitely they are going to change those things. Then what will you do? We are also equally concerned about the world climate, but not at the cost of development of our own people. Not at the cost of our development of our own people. Then who has to take the responsibility? Responsibility should lie on developed countries. We are not saying that we are not going to reduce, but why you are putting that onus or responsibility on us? You have to shift this responsibility to the developed countries. That is what your argument. Your argument should be, no, we should not, like, no. Our argument, like, we are still today stick to the concept of common but differentiated responsibilities. But the more responsibility lies on developed countries, we are also equally concerned about the world climate. We are also doing our efforts, and we are also expecting the technological transfer and also financial assistance from the world, from the developed world. This is how you need to balance your answer. Instead of writing, no, they have to do, they have polluted, everyone knows that. But the solution lies in both the people, but more responsibility lies in developed people, and they have to assist the developing world. Clear? Next summit where we are going to have COP27, Egypt. Egypt. And again, we are so concerned about the rule book. Rules must be so specific. And even the mechanism they have calculated, this whatever the green climate fund, what they have already committed, that accounting practices, and they are not good. They have contributed less and they have shown it as a more. There are some abnormalities in the rules. So we wanted to have a strong rule book. That is one thing. But the main problem with this is these are all voluntary. Whatever we are said, whatever we have committed, they are all voluntary contributions. There is no clear-cut commitment on finance transfer, and there is no specific details on action. These are some of the drawbacks of the existing summit, or the whatever the summit that was recently happened. So, yeah, lack of specific details on action. Lack of specific details on action. So I hope you are clear about this climate summit, when it was started, how it has entered into this phase, what was the position of India. Now, what is the position of India, what we need to be done. These are all. So is it clear? If you have any doubts in whatever the topics that I have discussed now, I think 4 topics we have discussed: cryptocurrency, this retail bonds, caste census, and COP26. I left with 2 more topics, but time is not permitting me to getting into the details of that. They are also equally important. One is S-400 missile system, and another one is about this Taiwan issue. But if you have any specific doubts on this, you can seek a clarification. I will be here for next 5 to 10 minutes. I don't leave you, because, and the students from online also, you need to clarify whatever the doubts that you have with you. Are you getting some deeper understanding of the topics? Because you might have already read all these topics, either in newspaper or some of the magazines. But if you are getting some deeper understanding, Acha. So earlier when you have read, you are not connected. Okay. But now you are getting some connectivity. That connectivity is important in UPSC. That connectivity is important. Okay. SECC. They are unconstitutional, no doubt about it. But who has to say that it is unconstitutional? Supreme Court has to say. So Supreme Court already mandated that the reservation should be 50%. Now the case is pending with the Supreme Court. That's the problem. Even Tamil Nadu case is pending with the Supreme Court. It was amended in 1992, prior to 1992. Till now it is pending in the Supreme Court. But we don't know whether the Supreme Court will really increase this 50% limit. Even at the national level also, with the implementation of EWS, it has already crossed the 50%. And this EWS quota was pending in the Supreme Court. They have made constitutional amendment, but again, Supreme Court has to looking into the validity of that constitutional amendment. Whether that constitutional amendment, is it really formed within the basic structure of constitution or not. You have a power to amend. You have amended it. But whether your amendment is correct or not, that has to be seen by the Supreme Court. That is also an important point. Whether it really comes under the principle of equity. If you bring economic criteria into, does it really depriving some other persons? So does it really forms under the definition of equity that they have to see? Suppose if they think that this constitutional amendment is correct, then they have to see whether this can be crossed to 50%. Can we accept it that 10%? Or you can confine it to 5% or 7%. Even also it is crossed. So should that 50% be like a 50%, or should it be extended? Or we are amending, we are accepting your economic principle as an amendment, but we don't allow to cross 50%, then you have to cut down the reservation of BCs or somebody else, and you need to fit it down. Only one will stay. No, they may not do any retrospective effect, but the problem if they struck down Indira Sahani is, today you are created economic criteria as a one criteria to bring the equality. Tomorrow, what is the guarantee that you don't bring regional criteria as a criteria to bring equality? So today Supreme Court can struck down to 50 and it can cap it 60 or 70. Is there any guarantee that the coming Supreme Courts may not take it down to 90? So these are all upcoming problems. But if the Supreme Court struck down the criteria of economic, then you don't get all these problems. If they struck down that amendment itself, you don't get any problem. But if they uphold the economic criteria, then they have to look at that 50-60, that given 10%. It's all the social and educational backwardness, not economic backwardness. Because the Mandal Commission has, and see, if at all you want to give any reservation to anybody, there must be a commission. Without commission, simply you cannot give reservation. Supreme Court don't accept it. A commission must study the social and educational backwardness of that communities, and if the commission proves that okay, so and so, then based on that you can give within the existing limit. The commission was already given, no? Mandal Commission. That's why we have given. 27%, actually the basis to the 27%, we don't know exactly the rationale behind 27. Why only they have given 27, why not 28? Maybe because in the 1962 itself, the Supreme Court said that reservations must be capped at 50%. That was again reiterated in Indira Sahani. That cap was already there. Maybe we should not cross that to 50%. That is the reason why they are confined to 27. Because already Supreme Court ruling was there in the 1960s itself. Okay. Any other specific doubts? Any other specific doubts? Amal, any specific doubts? Are you clear with all the topics? What about you? Your name? Neetu. Is it clear? Everything? Again, next week I'll take these two topics and along with some more other topics. Okay? Yeah. And where it was held, Glasgow, that fact I missed. Okay. Anyway, that note, yeah. No, again it will join. Already USA said no. Once Biden came into power, they said again they will rejoin both in UNESCO and as well as this also. Everything they will join. Whatever the Trump's commitment were there, they will join to the WTO, Paris climate and everything. Enter it. The constitution of those things permits for that. But it takes some time. It will see the moment if you want to draw, you cannot draw immediately, withdraw immediately. The moment if you want join, you can't join immediately. It will take some process. But as they are already committed to the commitments, so anyway, they will work along with these things. Okay, if that is the case, if no one have any other doubts, then I can wind up this session. Thank you.
Amrita IAS Academy.